Hello and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on the this and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us each and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast, Facebook Live, and LetGoRadio.net. Looking forward to seeing you there. What's up, everybody? It's D to the J with a roll away with you on another Wednesday. A little late, but better late than never on July 19th. And today we're going to focus on always being grateful. I am so grateful. Why am I doing this show? You know, you look at life, and honestly, I'm going to tell you, life is so short and I heard something on TV that kind of sparked my interest. Hey, Kayla. Hey, Thomas. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Would you waste 60 seconds of your life when you have 549,000 in a day? Are you going to waste 60 seconds of your life on something negative? If somebody has something to say about you, are you going to stop what you're doing to turn to them to respond when they say something negative? Are you going to keep rolling or keep walking or keep moving? Now, I'm going to tell you guys, this week I was tested on that and I didn't pass that test. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, I've been a martial artist for almost 15 years. And I realize that I have a touch trigger for a temper sometimes. And that touch trigger is not so much mean, because I very rarely get agitated to the point where I'm upset unless somebody kind of altercates or pushes a button or really says something. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was in Food Line the other day getting groceries, and I had a cart full of stuff. Myself and Rick, and myself and Kim and Marshall were there. And this lady came in and she barged in front of me and said, "You holding up that line? Move that GD damn chair." I said, and at that time, I lost connection with myself, because I replied, I stopped, because I literally, my switch went off. And this don't happen often, but this lady rubbed me the wrong way. And I literally replied, I said, "Who are you talking to?" I said, "I will roll your old over. I don't care. I will drop kick you right in the middle of Food Line. You don't realize who you're talking to." And it caught her off guard, because she replied to me, "Oh, you gonna drop kick me?" I said, "Bitch, keep talking and you gonna find out what a drop kick." And I realized then, and I was like, why am I wasting my time with this woman? So she double flicks me off and she walks out of Food Lion like she has accomplished her daily goal. Now, here's the thing. I've never hit a woman, and I'm not about to start now, but that lady right there, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was. I don't know why. And she couldn't just say, "Please excuse me." She had to have that negative attitude. And on this day, I weren't gonna have none of it. And look, I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to be, but I've been tested 100 times and passed. But this one time, boy, I failed the test because I wanted to run this lady over so bad. But the Food Lion employees were laughing so hard to my reaction, because they had never seen me react that way, that The lady didn't know what to do. Before she double flicked me off, before she walked out of Food Lion, she didn't know what to do. She stopped because she's like, oh my God, he spoke. And I'm like, I literally, I think I became like Mexican and Cuban and black all at once because I was about, don't mess with me because I will scratch you. Don't do that. You know, it just, I can't, and I don't know what got me at that moment so fast because I'm very, very, very mild mannered in public because I represent myself usually 99% of the time. I represent me as a martial artist. Now, Kim is added a picture right now. She's over here eating, but she's sitting here listening to this, smiling because she knows she saw me. She saw me. And I literally, before, about 5 minutes before that happened, we were in one of the aisles, and my buddy Rick, I went up and I picked up a Kit Kat, right? And I said, these are the sweets I really crave, okay? And Rick looked at me. He said, you see all the sweets in this cart? And he's going on and on and on. I walked away. Like I walked to the freezer section because I realized I got a little bit of a belly. Hey, Miss Betsy, how are you, sweetheart? I'm gonna tell you, I rolled to the and Rick knew. He's like, oh, and Marshall said something to him. Marshall was like, I think you might have overstepped the line on that one. And I turned to Rick and I said, Rick, you realize I'm buying for 3 people, right? And the look on hey, Kristen, the look on his face was like, oh God, like he totally forgot that I was buying for 3 people. So after this incident happened, I literally, he called and apologized, and it made me feel so good because he realized what he said and what he did was at that time was a little bit over the line, but he was man enough to take what he said and what he did and apologize for it. So let's fast forward to yesterday. And this lady that I literally wanted to clothesline, I have never wanted to clothesline an elderly lady in my life. But this lady here, she was pressing that clothesline button. Let me tell you,
she seriously deserves it.
This lady, I had to grit my teeth because I wanted to hurt this lady. And it wasn't so much what she said, it was how she said it. And when I lashed off at this lady, and I'm gonna be honest, y'all, my filter gonna come off for just a minute, so y'all excuse my language. I said, bitch, have you lost your mind? And I mean, it was just like that. It came out, and I see like 12 Food Lion employees turn and look, and all of them went, "Oh my God!" Like because I've never spoke. I've never spoke at a turn like that, and I told her, I said, "You don't know me from Adam. I will drop kick you right here, right now. You picked the wrong one." And I remember the moment I said that, like I'm like about to undo my seatbelt, and Kim's got her hand on my shoulder, going, "Babe, wait a minute." And I'm like, I literally let this lady get inside my head because she brushed past me. Okay, and I'm so grateful that I've got martial arts skill because I had to sit there for a minute, and and one of the Food Lion employees came over to me, and she was talking. She said, "DJ," she said, "I would have paid to see that because she deserved it." I'm like, "Look,
Exactly.
I literally, I mean, I was happy for a second, but I did not condone myself the way that I wish to condone myself. Now, I titled this show "I'm So Grateful," and Esther, I'm glad you're up here, girl. Because let me tell you, this comment right here, that is self control. Some people have no idea what we wish we could do to them versus how we can, girl, we contain ourselves. Lord, have mercy, you.
Hi, cuz.
You know what, and Betsy, I get it. I get it. I love this right here. You're human, DJ. You're entitled to get off once in a while. I didn't just get off. I picked up the chair. I was ready to swing. Yo, I literally, and I think I scared the lady because when my face went from this to, and it was right there. She knew at first because I don't think she thought I could speak. She thought I was one of them the people. And look, I ain't trying to use that as nothing, but judge me if you want to, but don't bump past me. Don't bump past me because my chair is 300 pounds and I'm 230. Okay, that's 530 pounds.
My muscle baby.
I mean, if I hit your foot in this chair, you gonna break, lady. You gonna need some Geritol or Finerol or Ditterol, something raw, cause you done raw me up. Woo. So always be grateful. Okay. Now, why did I title this show this? What if I would have taken that moment further?
Jail time.
See, I have to realize every action has a consequence, and we're human, and I can imagine the police officer's face, and he say, "Mr. Carter, why is that lady's arm over there?" I say, "Sir, I thought she was a Barbie doll, and I was just trying to put it back on." That's. But look, I'm trying to be real for a minute. Every action that you have, every action that you do, everything you say, everything you think has a consequence. Everything you think, the thoughts in your brain have consequence. Because eventually, who and what you truly are going to come out. Now, what's hard in life is to be yourself in a stressful situation, because I believe that every human has that Jekyll and Hyde side. You understand what I'm saying? We all are human, but that's not an excuse, okay? I'm not trying to make it okay that I almost went total apeshit on this lady, because I was about to send her to Jesus real quick. Y'all, I'm not trying to be mean, but this lady had my blood pressure up. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, at a moment in time, I kind of stopped. And I'm like, look, what would your grandmother have done? And I literally, when I said that to myself, I lost myself for a minute. I lost myself for a minute because my grandmother always told me, don't start it. Don't start it. But don't be afraid to finish it. I like this right here. Thomas said, you can't judge people by the way they look on the outside. Because this lady, I don't know if she thought I was incapable or nonverbal or stupid or Forrest Gump like or had been dropped on my head several times by my mama. That ain't got nothing to do with it. I'm fine. And the dog is whimpering in the background because my blood pressure going up because of this situation. It's all right, Mama. It's all right. It's all right. Daddy's okay.
It's our service dog.
She recognizes chronic pain and she thinks Daddy's upset. I'm not upset, baby. It's all right. Calm down. So we go through this thing where we have a split second. Shh, Mama, stop. We have a split second to sit there and make a decision.
Come with Mommy to make bracelets. Come.
We have a split second to think about what we're going to say in a high stress situation. We have a split second to think about what we're going to do before we say anything. That's the hard part when you're right there on the edge and you want to verbally blast somebody. You got to think about what you say and what you do because it's going to affect them both ways. Now, I know what I said and what I did was not right. But it sure as hell felt good in the moment. Now, I want you to think about that. When you think about something in that moment and you do it and you're like, that's right, I told her, I knew I was going to, and then you're like, wait a minute. Because what I should have done is said, I should have said, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was in your way. All you would have had to do was ask me to move. And see, that right there could have and would have diffused the situation because there's nothing she could have said to that. She could have got as mad as she wanted, and I could have just sat right there and just smiled. But on this day, I didn't hold my tongue, and I love Siobhan because she up here, and I knew she was going. Girl, good evening. You already know me, so I don't hold my tongue for anything. Having said that, sometimes you have to speak in a language that people understand.
Exactly.
Now, again, one thing I love about Siobhan, and we talk pretty regularly. It's been a little bit since we talked because she busy, I'm busy, that kind of thing.
I miss Siobhan.
But she's right. Siobhan is a very real individual. She doesn't filter things. She gives it straight, 110%. And that's what I love about her. She doesn't filter things. She doesn't sugarcoat shit. I cannot stand when stuff is sugarcoated. The problem is sometimes in life, some people just don't know. And you have to go to them as if it's new and approachable. Because Siobhan will approach somebody, and Siobhan is built like a freight train. I'm I know martial arts, but I ain't letting that woman put me in a headlock. Hell no. No, we ain't going down that road. I need to live. Praise Jesus. I need to live. I love Miss Siobhan, but I ain't letting her put me in a headlock because she can pop my head off like a pebble probably. But the thing about it is, she also has that very sweet side where she will listen. She will interpret what she feels, interpret what she says, interpret what she does, and then give it to you on the real. See, a lot of people forget that on the real works. Because when you're grateful and you got what you've got and you dispense with all the bull crap and the filtering and the trying to make someone feel good and just say what's on your mind, but say it properly, you avoid putting a bunch of fluff on stuff. You avoid putting a bunch of fluff on stuff. That's one thing I don't like. I know that people have a choice to watch my show or turn it off. I know that people have a choice to comment on my show or not. or say something positive or say something negative based on how they feel. But what I don't need is a bunch of stuff just to try to make me feel good. I'm not for that. That's not what this show is about. You learn from the mistakes that you make. Yeah, this one's a good one right here. Oh yes, ma'am. Sometimes the best satisfaction is seeing the shock or dumb look on people's faces when you respond with class they don't expect. Now listen to this. And don't have themselves. It throws them off, and we have no idea
How to respond.
how to respond. That's the same thing as saying kill them with kindness because they don't know what the hell to do.
That's what my cousin Rose.
Esther, I just met Esther a couple days ago. I like her because she's another one that's got a good way of speaking. You've got this elegant, very elegant voice, use it quite well, very verbal, to get it out there, to go in the, and you hear that and you go, I like that, because it's proper and it's there and it fits. But you know what happens when you filter it? When you stop and you try to filter something, most of the time you end up messing it up anyway because you didn't just say what you wanted to say in the first place. One of Siobhan done it again. Esther, that is priceless observation because even in 2023, people have huge miss I can't pronounce that word, misnomers about people with and I get what you're saying. I just can't pronounce that word. Again, and we've said, and this is why I love children, because if a child sees something, misconception. Oh, okay, thank you. And this is why I love children, because if a child sees something they don't understand, Mama, what's that? Mama, why is he like that? Mama, why is she like that? There's nothing wrong with that question. And it was amazing to me to speak with an 8-year-old the other day that had, or a 10-year-old the other day that had more questions than I could answer about my disability. But when she asked them, she was not afraid to ask them, and she asked them the only way that she knew how. That is what I love about life. There is an easy way to be grateful. There is an easy way to understand what I'm about. There is an easy way not to get me to run you over. There is an easier way. And that way is if you have a question, please ask the question. It's often a joy to answer their genuine questions. I love that. That is so true, because what comes from the mouths of babes is you can't hide it. You can't fake it. You can't filter it. It's there. There was a in that same Food Lion, there was a 3-year-old blonde-headed little girl named Gracie in a dress, and she saw me and she said, "Hi, mister, I like your wheels." I said, "Thank you, sweetheart. I'm glad you like my wheels. What else do you like about my chair?" She goes, "Well, it goes really fast. I bet I could ride up and down the aisle really, really, really fast if it's okay with my mom." Now, the most amazing things about this child is she came up to me and she said, "If I ask my mom, can I have a ride?" I said, "Sure you can." So I met her mom, and her mom's name was Jeannie. And we talked a little bit, and she made sure I wasn't this creepy pedophile just trying to go around and pick up little kids, and realized that I was a great guy and that I had a wonderful personality and that I loved her little daughter and she was sweet as she could be. She threw her arms around me and I picked her up and set her on my lap. And I went zooming down the aisle and went whee all the way down. And she went whee all the way down with me. So we're going down the aisle and she goes, do it again, do it again. And I go down the aisle, going down Food Line, aisle 7, just flying around. And I'm putting broadcasting to it. Now, there they go on the hairpin turn, you know. And she's just living life. And then something happened that I didn't expect. This child, out of the pure, unadulterated gratefulness and sweetness of her heart, said, if your legs are sore, you can have mine. And her mother turned and she teared up and she said, sweetie, that was the sweetest thing you could ever said. And I hugged her and I said, sweetie, that's okay. My legs are fine. They just don't work as good as yours do. And you know, I literally was blown away by the generosity of her heart in a 3-year-old perspective of being able to tell her, thank you for that, sweetheart, but that's okay. Now, this comment by Crystal is great. Crystal's been on my show before several times as a viewer. Being authentic and talking about issues in the disability community is difficult, absolutely. But when you talk about what your people need instead of topics that are popular, shows how much you respect them. You know, and when it, but see, the also difference there, Crystal, is you're breaking down the human the generosity or the genuineness of the person, because it gets past what they want. It gets past where they're going to go. It's absolutely what they need. Okay, but in the same sense, and in the same sense of life, children themselves see with pure eyes. Children themselves speak with pure hearts most of the time because they haven't been around all the negativity and all the crap in the world that detoxifies them or that makes them toxic. And hopefully they have, hopefully they have that mother and father that care about them enough to teach them that just because a person is in a chair, they're not different. That just because a person may be blind or deaf or autistic or have one leg or one arm, they're no different than we are. They just do things differently than we do, but they still get the job done. See, this is where the gratefulness comes in. And I'm grateful for the children of this world that stop to say, hi, how are you? I am grateful for the grown-ups of the world that ask the question. I'm a person, I'm an open book. If you have a question about me, if you have a question that you want to ask me, and I'll answer that question. Now, I love honest people, and I'm glad this came up because really there are some questions that people can't answer. And I'm perfectly fine with that. If there are questions that you can't answer, tell me and I will leave them out. I don't mind that because sometimes it's hard for a person to go down that path. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to go down that path. Sometimes it is hard to bring up that memory. But now I want to point something out, guys, and I want you to stay with me on this. Just because you don't talk about it doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to get better. Doesn't mean necessarily, thank you, sweetheart, that it's going to go away. Because that itself can create more of a problem by not talking about it because you think you shouldn't or you can't confront it. That's a toughie. That's a tender issue because people often think, well, there's some things I'm not going to talk about, and that's fine. That's your choice. There's nothing wrong with that. But getting it out in the open makes it easier. Once you confront it, see, here's the thing about fear, and I want to talk just a little bit about fear and some of the control that it has over us as people. When we've been conditioned our whole life to act one way, and another word for conditioned is brainwashed. Okay, people don't think about conditioning as brainwashed, but there are parents out there, there are children out there are people out there that use this tactic all the time. If you say something long enough or you hear something long enough, what's the next line that's going to come out of my mouth?
You'll believe it's true.
You'll believe it's true. That's exactly right. If you hear something long enough or something is told to you long enough from an early age, okay? Now we're talking about when the imprint of a child is there between the ages of, I would say, 1 year old and I would say 11. You're really, you get 12, 13, 14, you're really pushing the envelope, but it does happen. And this conditioning begins to overtake an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what bothers me, and I'm grateful here too, my mother raised me to know that I had cerebral palsy. Now, understand, there's a difference in knowing you have a disability, but knowing you can do anything you damn well please, all you got to do is put your mind to it. When a parent says to a child, there's nothing wrong with you, live your life normally as you normally would, I don't like that because I'm going to tell you why. There is no normal. We have to get off this subject of normal. How can I be normal like everybody else? Okay. One thing about me is I like me. I look good. I feel good. I smell good. I know exactly who I am. I know exactly what I can do. And I know that my mother and my family, including my grandparents, said this: Can't's too lazy to try. There's nothing you can do nothing you can't do as long as you put your mind to it. And sometimes you got to get your butt out there and get it done. You're going to get scraped up. You're going to get hurt. You're going to fall down. You're going to make mistakes. But listen, we have got to stop telling our children there's nothing wrong with you when they have a disability. Because not that there's anything wrong with them, folks, but listen to what I'm saying. Inform them of what their disability is. Do not make them be held down by their disability or because of it. Okay, and I want to bring something up too. When it comes to a young adult, and I'm talking about from the ages of, I would say, 18 to 24, okay? She's going to move out of the house. She's got somebody that she has her eye on, okay? And he or she has a disability. Now some people struggle with this. Some people say I would date somebody with a disability. Some people say I will not date somebody with a disability. Some people used to think they wouldn't date somebody with a disability because it would be too hard, because they wouldn't be taken care of. We need to learn as individuals where one person may be weak, we can uplift them. Okay? And I like the idea of non-disabled individuals dating people with disabilities. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it gives them a new perspective. Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. A new perspective of life, and to be thankful for what they truly have. How many people on this broadcast take things for granted?
I used to.
I do it. I do it. Kim does it. Esther does it. Kayla does it. Crystal does it. We've all done it because
It's easier.
It's easier. It doesn't apply. But see, when you have a disability and you're rocked with it, things change. When you have CP and it's tough as shit to put your sock on and you go, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, my toes aren't working right. I can't bend my toes down. I can't bend my finger down. My knee's not working. My abdomen hurts. My neck hurts. When it locks you down and you are totally immobile for a little bit, because CP will do that.
Oh, it sure will.
If we're not aware of this stuff, and we're not aware of what's going on about our own disability and the medicines that can help us and the medicines that can hurt us, and I'm going to tell you people, listen, be careful of morphine, oxycodone. A lot of people have been on morphine before. A lot of people have been on something that is a painkiller, okay? Morphine is something that deadens the nerves of the human body. And if you're on morphine for a long time or have been on morphine for a long time, your body will be in pain when it's not actually in pain when your nerves are trying to wake up. That is why doctors are getting away from the oxycodones and the Flexerils and these muscle relaxers that drop you down. And now for a little bit of time, it's okay, because sometimes you get knocked on your butt and you need some of the woo-hoo good stuff to really make you feel good and not be in pain. But you've got to be careful, because oxycodone is one of the most addictive painkillers and controlled substances out there that they say can help you, but in the long run can hurt you. And if you learn to take Tylenol regularly and naproxen regularly, which is naproxen, same thing as Aleve, and to take Excedrin regularly, things that can help you. But there are also home remedies that you can take. Tea with ephedrine in it will help with caffeine when you have a caffeine craving. There are thousands and thousands on WebMD. You can look up home remedies all day long. And these home remedies, you got to understand, you go back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years before we had all this stuff. I think it was castor oil or mineral, one of the two. My grandmother used to take that before she went to bed when she was feeling bad. And it did wonders for her system. You know, instead of putting things in your body that harm you, take a multivitamin. Learn about your body. Learn about your disability. If you don't understand, ask a doctor a question. And if you don't like what that doctor says, go to a damn another one. Because I'm going to tell you, all these doctors in this world that think they know every damn thing, they don't. If you are not happy with the results that you're getting with your physician, find another one. Go to a physician that you feel comfortable, that listens to what you need and what you want. Now, there's a difference when a physician tells you something and you're hard-headed and don't follow it, don't get mad at the doctor then when something don't go right, okay? When you got a doctor that cares about you and wants to see you get better and says you need to take this medicine because you have this, this, and this, and it will help. Kim did not want to take medication. She said, baby, I'm not taking medication. I'm not. I said, baby, look, just try the baclofen. I've been on baclofen since I was 10 years old. Baclofen has helped my muscle spasms tremendously. Baclofen and dantrolene are two medicines that I use, that I have been using, that I know about. I know about the side effects. I know to get my blood checked every 6 months. I know what an overdose of baclofen can do. I know what taking too much is. People, I'm telling you, some people get the baclofen pump. I've never done that. I'm not going to do that. I don't want a continuous pumping of medicine in my system all the time. That's just something I chose. And again, Thomas, that's correct. Some of those pain meds do not work.
Exactly.
Depending on the disability that you have and the problem that you have. You do have to find the right ones, okay? I agree with you on that. So if something doesn't work for you, let your doctor know. Now with baclofen, the lowest dose of baclofen that you can take is 10 milligrams. Technically, you can cut the pill in half with a pill cutter and take 5 milligrams. I remember when Kimberly hurt her, her shoulder, I believe it was, or her neck. She had a muscle relaxer that was the generic Flexeril, and it was for 4 milligrams. And she looked at me and she said, 4 milligrams aren't going to do shit. I said, honey, be careful. That's based on your body weight. No, I'll be fine. She took that thing, and within 15 minutes, it took her off her ass. I mean, she was like, woo! Look at all the pretty colors. It was one of the things.
All right, let the world know my body is weak when it comes to medicine. Okay, people, yes, it's the truth.
But here's the thing. Medicine, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, medicine and milligrams and all of that, they are prescribed due to a person's tolerance and their weight. Be very, very careful. Just because something has a low milligram dosage does not mean it won't pick you up and put you down. If they say take it 30 minutes before bed, that means take it 30 minutes before bed. Everybody thinks they're invincible. Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you right now.
I thought so.
In this life, we think we're invincible until we get hit by a train. I was one of those, I was so scared to go to the dentist. Man, I mean, I'll tell this story live because it's funny and I think everybody will get a kick out of it, but they'll also know what I mean. My mom went with me, my actual church group went with me to the dentist in 2009 or 2010, whenever it was. 2006, something like that. It's been a while since I've been. And I got sedation dentistry done. And there's this little drug that they give you in the, you have to take one before you go and one when you get there. But it causes amnesia later on after you have the procedure. So I took the first one, an hour before I get there. And I get there and I'm fine. And the dentist comes in and he goes, how you feeling? I go, I'm all right. He goes, all right, we're going to go ahead and take another one now. And we're going to start the procedure in about 15, 20 minutes. And I said, okay, no problem. So I pop the medicine and I'm like, okay, this isn't working. Now he comes in, he goes, are you sedated? I go, no, I'm not. This doesn't work. Holy crap, I'm scared to death. So then the dentist did something I didn't expect. He crushed one of the pills up and he goes, take it this way. So I've taken 3 pills now, okay? An hour before I got there, one when I came in, and crushed one up. He waited about 20 minutes and he said, Mr. Carter? I said, uh-huh. He said, do you know where you are? I said, uh-huh. He said, where are you? I said, on the floor. He said, okay, you're sedated and good to go. I said, uh-huh. So I had the procedure done, and it was a deep scaling where they went up under the gum, cleaned it up, made sure everything was good, had 4 cavities filled, that kind of thing. I was in the chair for about 3 hours. So I come out of the chair and I have a cell group meeting that night. And I go to my cell group meeting for church and all of this. And I'm eating the chicken and I go to take a sip of cold tea. And when I take that sip of cold tea, that cold tea hit my tooth and it boom ran through my body. I'm like, oh, well, Jesus, wake on up. There we are. Because your teeth are very sensitive after the dentist work on them. And I said, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'll just drink warm water, warm, whatever. And I went home, went to bed, and went to sleep. Well, that next day, I woke up and I was like, oh, crap, I'm late for my appointment. I didn't go. I deposited $200 to go, and I didn't go. And I called the dentist office, and I'm like, did I miss my appointment to go to sedation dentistry yesterday? And he goes, no, Mr. Carter, you were there. I go, I was? And my roommate comes into the room and goes, you talked about getting married, you talked about bungee jumping, and you talked about doing things I would have never talked about live. I said, did anybody get it on camera? He goes, no. I go, thank God. So let me read these two comments by Kayla here. I don't do spasticity meds because I feel them, but because I feel like the movement disorders, I don't have a normal level. I feel like it's tricky conversation as I've learned to control my movements as much as I can. It depends on multiple factors. I don't do spasticity meds because I feel like the movement disorders I've done have a normal level. I feel like it's tricky. It's a tricky conversation. I've learned to control my music. This is multiple factors. I said the same thing. So some people are able to learn, in your case, Kayla, to control the movements and work with them, but some have them so frequently and so badly that they are uncontrollable muscle movements to where the medicine is needed. And I can understand where someone would take them or wouldn't take them because they don't want to put, certain or harmful things in their body. It makes perfect sense. So, you choose to do what you feel is right for your body because it is your body and it ultimately is your decision. But the question that I have for you is it tolerable for you to be at the level that you're at? And do you think the medicine might help? If you do, talk to your physician about it. If not, that's perfectly fine. I see either way you're going to go because there are medicines that do work. And as Thomas said earlier, not all of the medications out there work and they claim to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Someone asked me, and I've mentioned this topic before. We got about 12 minutes left before we end the show. With your disability, DJ, if somebody walked up to you and gave you a pill that could correct your CP instantaneously,
would you?
And make you be able to walk and live that so-called normal life, would you take that pill?
No.
And the answer to that question is I would not.
No.
I would not. I was dealt the cards that I was dealt. I was blessed by God to be born the way I am. I have the disability that I have. It is what it is. And I am not going to sit there and mope and say, God, I wish I could be different. I did that for so long that I wasted most of my life trying to figure out that I didn't need to be different. I just needed to be DJ and let things happen the way they happen. And see, that's what gets me about people. I wish. Wish in one hand, spit in the other, and see which one fills up faster. Yeah. Because when you sit there and you wish and you wish and you wish and you wish and you want and you want and you want, but you don't go after things the way you are because you're scared of the way you look or you're scared of the way that people might see you, and you don't take the time to be happy with yourself. See, that's where it all starts right there. Self-awareness and self-preservation and self-understanding and self-motivation and self-worth. All of that have to be understood first before you can ever do anything, because if you don't love yourself first, you're never going to love anybody else because you're not going to learn how.
That's why I love you.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. I understand, and I think that's a great point. But in our relationship, you have to teach each other about self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
So many people don't know, and so many people see themselves as the lowly individual on the totem pole. I am here. I need to get here. No, you are where you are because that's where you are.
Where you belong.
That's where you are for now. It doesn't mean that you have to stay there. It doesn't mean that you're going to be there for the rest of your life. It doesn't mean that you can't do anything. It doesn't mean that you're not going to change. It just means that you're there for the time being. When you are in a mode of anger, when you are in a mode of frustration, when you are in a mode of sadness, I have been told by this lady several times, it's okay to be there. It's okay to get there, but don't stay there, because when you stay in that mode, when you stay in that mode of where you are, it can drag you down further because of what it does to you and the effect that it has on you.
Correct.
Now, I like this right here. It depends for sure. So many factors. I've also been able to deal with the aspects of disability without medication. I like this answer to this question. The CP cure question is tricky because it's never just about CP. It's about those little things.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I hate the word CP treatment. Let me go over some of those little things. While I've got them a couple of minutes, I may go over because it's my show and I can do what I want to do, and I'm not on the radio, so screw it. I may go over a little bit. Let me address some of those little things for those of you that are still with me. Buttons are very hard for me.
Me too.
Buttons are very difficult in the fact that you have to put one in through the hole, and one in you got to pull the other one through the hole. When the hole was smaller and the button doesn't fit, and you got 9.5-inch hands, that makes it difficult.
For me too, and I got small hands.
Everybody with CP deals with things.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody with CP deals with things. When you are trying to zip something, and the zippers they make now on jeans, I don't know what scientific genius said, let's make the zipper as small as we possibly can. So you've got to get a pair of tweezers to grab the damn thing and pull it up. I look at my life and I say, okay, the hardest thing for me to do right now is put my socks on. The hardest thing for me to do is put my shoes on. The hardest thing for me to do is to put my right leg in my jeans. Yeah, and I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from, Kayla. Little things. I mean, swallowing disorder, nonverbal, etc. A lot of people don't think about that because they don't deal with it. See, and that's where I remember I said you were unique. That's why I use that word so much. You are unique to me. You are one of the most amazing people I've ever met because you deal with so much stuff, and you deal with it as a bright, young, exciting lady that knows what the hell she wants, and I like that. That's how I wanted to be, but I had to learn that you're going to have, exactly right, Cindy, exactly right, those daily challenges. When you have your disability, whatever your disability is, you're going to have those things that you deal with. Does your pinky toe go the right way? Does one toe stand up and go, I'm out here and the others are down there? Do you have trouble opening and closing your hands? Can you grasp little beads and drop those son of a bitches and go, God dang it, I dropped another one? Can you pick up the penny and put the penny in the jar when they told you to do it 1,000 times? An occupational therapist, and you look at the occupational therapist and you go, I'm going to kill you if you make me pick up one more thing. All of those challenges, all of those things that you deal with are your challenges. That's why I said every case of every single disability is different. You can line 6 people up with cerebral palsy. You can line 6 people up with spina bifida. You can line 6 people up with MS. You can line 6 people up with Lou Gehrig's disease. You can line 6 people up with one leg, 6 people up with one arm, and they're all going to have
different challenges. Correct.
Some of them may have some of the same. I'm not saying some of the same aren't there. That's not what I'm talking about. So much is complicated because there's always people more involved than me. I want you to alliterate on that. I like that statement, but I want you to alliterate on that. Tell me more about that. Comment more on that because I want to see where you're going with this. I think I know where you're going, but I want to see where you're going, sweetheart, if you don't mind. I literally, okay. Now while she's typing and while she's working it out, she's fast. Trust me, she's fast. You are okay. You're going to have people in your life, okay? They're going to be there. Some are going to be there to help you. Some are going to be there to piss you off. Some are going to be there not to help you. But you have to realize when you get to a certain point, everybody else is not going to be around all the time. I had to live by myself, and I hated it. I hated it with a passion. But here's the thing. I had to do it. Exactly. So you have to have, and you may have to have some of that. You may not. Some other people may. There's always more involved. I understand where you're going there completely. Here's the thing. When you deal with your disability and you know how you work, if you have to put your shoes and socks on a certain way, or you have to put your pants on a certain way, or you have to pull your zipper up and slide back in your chair a certain way, you don't have to make others understand that unless they're helping you. Now, here's one of the complications that I struggled with. When Kim and I were dating, I was worried because I felt that her pain crises and her problems that she had or challenges that she had with CP would be too much for her to handle in addition to mine. So I said to her, it is going to be a challenge based on everything else I knew from everywhere else I knew it. I said, based on who's lived with me before and the relationships I've had before, living with me is going to be a challenge. She goes, really? I'm like, oh, God. Another one of these innocents that think it's going to be perfect. And then that was my first thought because I'm trying to wrap around in my head. I don't have to convince her because she's got CP, so she knows a lot of what I go through. I've used AFOs as well, Thomas. I have as well. So those have been there, and those things are in the closet right where they belong, and that's where they're going to stay.
Mine were thrown out in the garbage.
But they do help, and I know Christina McCormick uses them, and she's got a new pair that's working for her, and Some things work and some things don't. So anyway, getting back to, we start working together. She comes down the first time, stays for 3 days, and helps me, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, and she just gets into the role, and it's not, um, you know, it's not. Are you saying you use them too, Kristen? I think that's what's supposed to be. Are use them was I you use them as well, but even though you can put your shoes on, oh, let's see, that's a good one there, Thomas. But even though you can put your shoes and socks on, or don't you want them to know how to do it? And that's a good way to look at it too, because some people don't know, and showing how you do it may help. Showing someone else how you do it may help them. That's a good point.
Like
Uh,
putting on your pants.
I mean, that's well, I can't show how I do that because I'm not going to show it in my underwear. But that's Kayla. That is great. That is a great point, Kayla. I like that very much. That's
Just down.
man, that's awesome. So I literally want to go through this real quick. We learn, because we both have CP. I learned that when when um, when Kim is hurting, she will seize. Her muscles will seize and then lock up. And I will go through and I will massage her fingers and her toes and her thighs and her knees and her hips and her shoulders and her neck, and use heat to help to relax. And I'll sit there and I'll do it for 45 minutes to an hour. And when I'm itchy or hurting, or she will come and she will put lotion or biofreeze or whatever I need, and just sit there and rub for an hour until I feel better. I've never had that.
You never had a good woman either.
So so for me it's new, and in turn you've never had a good man to I was able to put her socks on for her the other day because her knees were bothering her to where she couldn't bring her knee all the way up. Does she need that help all the time? No. But sometimes it is a bitch to put your socks and shoes on. So I can help her put hers on. She can help me put mine on, and we take away the slack of where we're struggling, and it doesn't become a struggle. Now, have you ever had an itch you can't reach?
Hell yes.
And I mean, that some bitch like paralyzes you, like a paralyzed crab dancing, just trying because you got that itch and that thing is there. And when you hit it, you're like, ooh, 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 because you get it right on the money. And man, I had one of them things the other day, and it got me in the store. Okay, now I'm not gonna say where it was because I ain't trying to be graphic. But let me tell you, I was like a paralyzed crab down the aisle. People were looking at me, thought I was having a seizure, thought I was going to throw myself out my chair. I had to get something that I haven't had to get in a long time. And I was worried about getting it because I said, how am I going to apply this? Because I couldn't apply it. And Kim's like, I got it. And I'm like, huh? And it took me by surprise for a moment because I'm not used to a female going, I got this, don't worry about it, baby, ain't no problem. And once that came out and she realized that I was better, she goes, you feel better now? I'm like, uh-huh. And you got to understand, some people will sit there all day with an itch and not get it scratched because they're worried about asking somebody to help them. Kim does not, and let me repeat, does not like asking for help. She also does not like to slow down. But in our relationship, she has realized and is still realizing that sometimes she needs a little bit of help. Sometimes she needs to slow down. And sometimes I'm going to have an itch that I can't reach or I can't get to. And and I'm going to have to go, hey, Kim, can you scratch right? And it's just, and once it's done, and once you feel better about it, learn to trust one another. Because once you find that one that you love, and once you find that one that you're with, it doesn't mean the relationship is going to turn out the same way the last one did. I was with my ex-wife for 7 years, and I said, oh God, I hope she lasts 7 years. I hope she lasts 40. That's the thing. I'm not saying that the 7 years with my ex-wife was bad. There were good things. You can't sit there and look at life and think it's going to turn out the same way every time. You can't compare. You can't compare. Well, it's going to be just like, if you do that, you are setting yourself up to fail. And that is a dangerous thing. Let me read this comment right here by Crystal. Don't worry. If your disability is too complicated, the right people will come in your life and do whatever you need without thinking or making you feel like you're not complicated.
Thank you, Crystal. I love that comment.
When I was with my first love, I thought she was the one. And I realized very quickly that no matter how much money you have or don't have, no matter how many things you have or don't have, when that person is not there for you to do what you need and lift you up in the way that you need it, and you are not there for that person to lift them up in the way that they need it, it ain't going to work. I have realized in my life, and I have realized in all of this, that you can fall out of love just as quickly as you can fall into it. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you learn from it. What you don't want to keep doing is to keep doing the same things over and over and over again. And I know this episode has run a little bit long, and I do apologize, but some people keep putting themselves in the same type of relationship because they think that is all they are capable of getting, or I'm not going to find anybody better. Have you ever taken out a piece of paper and wrote down what you want versus what you need? Have you ever thought about that truly, what you want versus what you truly need? Because once you find that your need is more valuable than your want, everything that happens there will get replaced. I'm lucky enough that I got everything I wanted and I needed in my girl that I have right now. And that's what makes this so wonderful, because I don't have to think about to ask her, can you, will you? It just is there. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say I depend on it, because you have to be careful with that. Don't depend on it. Make sure you ask. Make sure you say thank you. Make sure you say please. Don't assume that they're going to do it automatically because they have to. Because I'm going to tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen, they don't. They don't. She can get up and walk into the other room, or get up and walk to the next city, or get up and go to whatever she chooses. And I have to be aware of that. Now, not to say that she's going to do that to me, but I am not going to take a woman for granted that gave up everything to come to me. And some people will say the same about my life. Yeah, okay, you got a point. But what did you really give up? What did you really give up? Because look at now. Because for Kim, she is in a better situation than she was in before. Yes, for Emily, it seemed to be that way. But Emily has a lot of people that care about her still to this day. And she made the decision she made. And we can't go back on those decisions. Let me say this to end the show. You can think about things you want all day long. But when you get what you need, there is a more satisfying endorphin for someone who loves you.
Yes, 100%.
Let me say it one more time. When you can sit and think all day about what you want, but when you get what you need, there is a better endorphin when it's from somebody who loves you. I'm not sure what you wanted to put there, Kristen, because the comment came up blank, sweetheart. So I'm not sure what you were trying to type. You might want to put it up again. But I literally, I love this show because this is one of those shows where you realize we've hit a lot of topics and people are going to say, wow, you kind of bounce from one thing to another. But if you think about it, it all goes around in that circle that we're talking about where you're grateful for what you have. And if I didn't sit here and say, I am grateful for what I have, our CP family that we have on Fridays, every other Friday, we are grateful for those people. Winnie Wilson and the Wilson family, they are in much need of prayer right now because they're going through it. But I would not be the man I am today if they were not in my life. If I did not have the mother that I have, I would not be the man I am. If I did not have the grandparents that I had, I would not be the man that I am. If I did not have the brother that I had, yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. I wouldn't be the man that I am because I have learned a lot from them. And you have to take what you learn from them as individuals and piece it and hold it and learn from them. Ask them questions. Talk to the people that you trust and that you have in your life. Ask them the questions that you need to ask them. Don't be afraid to talk about things because you think it's going to bring up a raw issue. Listen, all issues start out raw. The only way to heal scars is to talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to break down walls is to smash through them and to talk about them and to deal with them. And it may take time. It may take a lot of time. It may take years to break down some of these tough walls that I'm talking about. But if you sit there and if you talk about it, and if you've got someone that's really there to help you and really there to uplift you and really to bring you into the zone that you need to be in and not full of negative crap that's trying to take you out, maybe you can find something out of that to be thankful for. Always be grateful, always be truthful, and always love yourself. This is D to the J with the Roll Away saying we will see you next week with a great guest and a great show. I've been waiting for this one a long time. Miss Kayla is going to be our guest next week, and we have been waiting on this one for a while. We had to reschedule once, so hopefully this time everything will go through. If you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J with the Roll Away saying we'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. As always, you can catch us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Podcast, Facebook Live, and on www.letgoradio.net. Also, if you haven't already checked out our YouTube channel, My CP Does Not Define Me, where we post all of our show's episodes in our My CP playlist. As always, I'm your host, D to the J with the Roll Away. You can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. We'll see you next week.